Welcome back to Bold Not Old. In this channel, we explore how to intentionally build a life worth getting older for. In my last video, we talked about the first part of the Bold Not Old blueprint, level 1. And that's building our foundation, beginning with vitality. Vitality is about building a healthy body through movement, nutrition, sleep, brain health, and other daily habits that support our health span, how long we live in good health. Vitality gives us the energy to live well, but that's not often enough. Sooner or later, life throws us all a curveball, a health diagnosis, a divorce, loss of someone we love, maybe a career change. We may become a caregiver or an empty nester. And the question isn't whether life will change, because we know it will. The real question is, how will you respond when it does? After more than 35 years as a gerontologist, working with older adults and families, I've learned something remarkable. I've seen two people with similar diagnoses or similar losses facing the same kind of life transitions, and they have completely different outcomes. One become overwhelmed, withdrawn, and lost hope. The other was able to grieve, adjust, and discover new strengths. The difference wasn't their physical health, it was resilience. And here's the good news. It isn't something you either have or you don't. It's something you build, just like a muscle. Many people think that resilience means being tough, pushing through, or pretending everything is just fine. That's not it. Resilience is the ability to adapt, recover, and continue growing through life's challenges. Doesn't mean we won't experience sadness, disappointment, grief, or fear. It just means those experiences won't define the rest of your life. Healthy aging simply isn't about avoiding disease. It's about maintaining the emotional and mental capacity to adjust as life changes. Research does support this. Psychologist Dr. Becca Levy at Yale University found that people who had more positive age beliefs lived an average of 7.5 years longer than people with negative age beliefs. Her research also showed that this connected these positive beliefs, ability to be healthier and recover from disease. Think about that. The stories we tell ourselves about aging don't just affect our attitude, they may affect our health, our choices, and the way we respond to challenges. Resilience reminds us that while we can't control everything, we can influence how we respond. And our responses, repeated day after day, help us shape the way we age. So how do we build resilience? It comes down to 5 essential practices, starting with mindset. Develop a mindset that remains open to growth, possibility, and learning. Have you ever said, I'm too old? I could never do that. That's just not the way I am. When we repeat those statements, they become more than passing thoughts. They become instructions. They tell us to stop exploring, stop taking risks, and stop imagining that something new might still be possible. A growth mindset gives us a different message. Psychologist Carol Dweck's research on mindset showed that people who believe their abilities can be developed are more likely to embrace challenges, persist through setbacks, and continue learning. And that doesn't mean that everything is easy. And it doesn't mean that we assume that our abilities are fixed. Curiosity is a part of the mindset. Curiosity asks, what could I learn? What haven't I tried? What might be possible? Curiosity keeps us engaged with life. It means learning a language before taking a dream trip, taking an art class, joining a book club, exploring new technology. We have to stay up on technology in this day and age. So lifelong learning also supports brain health by developing what researchers call cognitive reserve. The brain's ability to adapt and continue functioning despite age-related changes. So instead of saying, I'm too old, try asking, what am I still curious about? Your future doesn't end when you reach a certain age. It continues as long as you will remain willing to learn. The second practice is adaptability. This is so important. Life changes. Our bodies change, our families change, the world is changing. People who navigate aging well aren't necessarily the people who avoid change. They're often the people who learn how to adjust to change. Adaptability doesn't mean giving up on what matters to you, but it means being flexible about how you continue pursuing it. Maybe you can no longer travel in the same way you did 20 years ago. That doesn't mean you can't travel anymore. Maybe you adapt by choosing a different pace, a new destination, or more support. Maybe retirement didn't look the way you expected, and that doesn't mean your life has lost its meaning. Maybe it's an invitation to redefine your identity, contributions, and purpose. I did. Sometimes resilience means letting go of the life you imagined so you can fully participate in the life you have now. Every new chapter asks us to learn, adjust, and occasionally reinvent ourselves. Adaptability allows us to say, well, this isn't what I expected, but I can still decide what comes next. The third practice is emotional intelligence. Healthy aging doesn't mean never feeling angry, lonely, disappointed, or sad. These are all normal parts of being human. But it is the ability to recognize what we're feeling. I call those triggers, and understand why we're feeling it so we can respond thoughtfully. It includes being able to say, I'm overwhelmed. I need help. I'm grieving. I'm angry, but I don't want my anger to damage my relationships. It also includes empathy. That's our ability to understand the feelings and experiences of other people. This becomes very important as families navigate caregiving, health concerns, and changing roles. A person may be receiving care and feel frightened about losing their independence. The caregiver may feel exhausted, resentful, and guilty. Adult siblings may disagree, imagine that, about what's next. But we respond to the same situation from our own emotional place. And we have to recognize that those emotions don't solve every problem, but it allows us to communicate with greater honesty, wisdom, and compassion. Emotional intelligence supports stronger relationships, and decades of research, including findings from Harvard's study of adult development, consistently show that strong relationships are closely connected to health, happiness, and well-being. Resilient people don't always handle everything alone. They learn how to communicate, stay connected for support. The fourth practice is self-compassion. And this is especially difficult for women who spent most of their lives caring for everyone else. We're often patient with our children and encouraging with our friends. We're very understanding with our partners, but when we make a mistake, or experience a setback, or fail to meet our own expectations, our inner voice can be incredibly harsh. We say things like, I should have known better. I'm a complete failure. What's wrong with me? Researcher Dr. Kristen Neff has found that self-compassion is associated with greater emotional resilience and lower levels of anxiety and depression. Now, it doesn't mean making excuses or lowering our standards. It simply means responding to yourself in a way that helps you recover and keep moving forward. Self-criticism often makes us want to hide and give up. Self-compassion allows us to say, this is hard, but I'm going to keep trying. I can learn from this without tearing myself apart. Instead of saying, I've failed, try saying, I'm learning. Instead of asking, what's wrong with me, ask, what do I need right now? You don't become stronger by criticizing yourself. You become stronger by creating enough emotional safety to try again. We all have that inner voice. Let's control it. The fifth practice is stress management. Now, stress is not always bad. Short-term stresses can help us respond to danger, meet a deadline, or handle a difficult situation. But chronic, unmanaged stress is deadly. It's the kind we never turn off, right? I call it, for me, it's fight or flight. I'm always waiting for the next shoe to drop because I've lived a life of trauma. Stress management doesn't mean eliminating every difficult person or challenging situation in your life. That's not possible. It means creating opportunities for your body and your mind to recover and recognizing when you need to recover. And that's different. What does it look like for you? Take a walk, spend time in nature, pray or meditate, write in a journal, put on some music, laugh, set boundaries, turn off the damn news, ask for help, or simply sit quietly without feeling that you need to be productive every minute. That was for me, that last one. It's part of healthy aging. We often think resilience means pushing through. Sometimes resilience means recognizing when you need to stop, rest, and restore yourself. So resilience is not about being fearless. It's about learning that fear doesn't have to make your decisions. It isn't avoiding change. It's about trusting that you can adjust. It isn't about pretending painful emotions don't exist, but it is about developing the emotional intelligence to move through them. It's not about being perfect. It's about treating yourself with enough compassion to keep going. And it isn't eliminating stress. It's creating healthy ways to recover from it. Vitality builds a strong body. Resilience builds a strong mind. And next, our next component of the Bold Not Old blueprint is your foundation, is purpose. We need direction because vitality gives us energy, resilience gives us flexibility, and purpose gives us a reason to keep moving forward. And together, these create a foundation of a life worth living for. So my challenge to you this week, pay attention to your inner dialogue. Notice every time you're critical to yourself and you say, I can't, I'm too old. Pause before you accept that thought as the truth. And then replace it with one of these questions. What's still possible? What can I learn? How can I adapt? And what's one small step I can take today? Because small shifts in thinking can lead to meaningful changes in how we live. Aging isn't simply about losing who we used to be. It's about discovering what we're still capable of becoming. And remember, aging is inevitable. How we age is not. So let's live bold.